Manjrekar James, the ex-CanMNT center back, is back in Canada, and he has made a huge move today by joining Forge FC, the most successful side within the history of the Canadian Premier League. They've made a huge signing today, a brilliant move by bringing in Manjrekar James, who is truly a marquee deal. That is right, guys. Welcome back to On the Rise with the latest CanMNT news, and this is a huge transfer as Manjrekar James has joined Forge FC. Like I said, the most successful side within the history of the Canadian Premier League. Bringing in Manjrekar James is a massive move. I truly believe this is a massive move for Manjrekar James' footballing career as well, as I believe a transfer to Forge FC could possibly revive and resurrect his footballing career. Whether you want to look at the club side or the international side, I think this is going to do tremendous things for Manjrekar James' footballing side. Looking at the club level, I think this could be a huge move. Joining a side like Forge FC, who I really think is going to absolutely run this league this year. They have a brilliant side. If you want to look at Hojav, Rapport, Morgan, Schwanier, Borges, it's a brilliant team that I think is going to devastate this league. But Manjrekar James joining a side like Forge, who I think is going to win this league, is huge, because I think a side like this, going to a side like Forge FC, could massively elevate and resurrect his footballing career at the club side, hugely. Because you look at Forge FC, they could have a huge season, and Manjrekar James could benefit off that massively. Coming back, he's only 29 years of age, he's a Canadian center back. Looking at what Dominic Zator just did, getting a huge transfer to the likes of Korona Kielce, of course, in the Polish First Division, it's a big transfer. Yes, of course, it's not a huge league, but it's still a decent league. And Manjrekar James, I believe, could benefit off a huge season for Forge FC, maybe a 1 year, a brilliant season 1 year in the CPL with Forge. I could easily see Manjrekar James making a huge transfer off the back of that. Yes, to a league like he's been in, maybe the Danish, maybe the Greek, Hungarian. It's still a very good, decent side, decent league, and it's still an improvement. And at the age of 29, he still has a lot to give, guys. If you look at center backs, you could say 29 is still aging. He's still a bit older. If you want to look at football, you look at the likes of center backs, center defensive midfielders, and goalkeepers. They all age like fine wine. Some of them play their best years when they're older. You look at Steven Vittoria. He is playing absolutely out of his mind. He's been brilliant at the club level as well as the international scene for Canada as well. He has looked absolutely phenomenal. You look at some other center backs, some examples. You look at Pepe and Jose Font at the Portuguese national level. Absolutely brilliant center backs, and they're aging late into their 30s. They're 40 years old almost. Even Pepe might be there already. Manjrekar James is still only 29, guys. He has played at a very good, very rich level already with the likes of Midtjylland, having 3 great seasons at that Danish league, where he did win the title as well as coming second twice. Playing in the Champions League, the Europa League, has so much experience under his belt, and I believe one season for Forge FC, a very good year where I think he's going to benefit hugely and could possibly earn himself a transfer off the back of that, and could easily revive and resurrect his footballing career. And as well, I did mention internationally. Of course, internationally. You look at the Canadian men's team right now, the CanMNT. Look at center back. It's probably the position we are hurting the most within depth. Yes, we have Karifa Yao coming up, but he is still very young, very ill-experienced, not getting any minutes for Vancouver Whitecaps, which is very unfortunate, as I believe they should be giving him minutes. Very young, talented Canadian center back. They could benefit hugely off the back of that. But depth-wise, you got a great center back in Derek Cornelius, who I absolutely love playing for Malmo. You have the likes of Scott Kennedy. Yes, there's so many more, even Steven Vittoria. There's a lot of players that I'm leaving out. But still, you look at that center back pool for the Canadian men's national team, it is very much hurting and lacking in depth. And I believe Manjrekar James could easily jump into that group. He's still only 29. He could bring in a lot of experience. Yes, like I said, he's not the youngest player in the world, but 29, going on 30, he's still very decently young, and you can have him until 34, 35. Do a Steven Vittoria. He has a lot to give. And like I said, guys, benefit off a huge season with Forge FC. I could see Manjrekar James elevating himself to be within that pool for the CanMNT. Look at the likes of Dominic Zator, guys. Like I mentioned, Dominic Zator was absolutely phenomenal in the Canadian Premier League, which saw him earn that transfer to the likes of Korona Kielce at the age of now, I want to say he is 27 or 28. He is now 28 years of age. Yes, he's not playing at center back right now for the likes of Korona Kielce, as he is playing as a right back, a wing back, and he's playing absolutely out of his mind fantastically in Poland. He has done brilliant things and could possibly earn himself another transfer off the back of this. But you look at the likes of Manjrekar James. He's joining the Canadian Premier League now at the age of 29. Has a brilliant season. Yes, Dominic's toured a couple of seasons in the Canadian Premier League, so I do understand where that could be coming from. He did have a couple of seasons to prove himself, but Manjrekar James could easily step in, have a brilliant season, win the Canadian Premier League, and elevate himself to a huge transfer. And I believe this is a massive chance for him to resurrect and fully revive his footballing career. I think this is a huge move, and it's an amazing move for the Canadian Premier League. As for me, I personally haven't watched a lot of CPL up until this point in my footballing career or footballing life, and I'd love to get more into it. As a Canadian, making videos, following the Canadian men's national team, following Canadian players, this is a huge transfer for me. I believe this is such an exciting move. I'm not sure if it's as exciting for a neutral. Of course, a center back transfer. I am a center back. I love defending. I think this is an amazing move. And it's going to get me into the CPL a lot more. Look at an ex-CanMNT player coming back to the league, coming back to try and revive his footballing career. I think it's a very exciting move. It's a marquee move, and it's a move that should get a lot of Canadian fans into the Canadian Premier League and should get fans out to the games, especially watching this forward side that I think is going to be absolutely devastating this year, guys. Let me know what you guys think down below about Manjrekar James. Will he revive his footballing career? Do you guys think he could earn him transfer off the back of this? Let me know down below in the comments. Hit that like button, drop a sub. We're so close to 100 subscribers, guys. Let's keep pushing, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.